Overthinking, a battle in our own minds. There was a time when I would lie awake at night, replaying every little thing I said during the day. Did I sound stupid? What if they think I'm weird? Should I have said something different? My mind would take a small moment and turn it into a giant problem. And the worst part? Most of the time, no one else even remembered what I was stressing over. Overthinking is like carrying a heavy backpack full of what-ifs and maybes. It slows us down, exhausts us, and makes simple decisions feel impossible. It's something I struggled with for years, and honestly, I still do sometimes. But I've learned that while we can't stop thoughts from coming, we can control how much power we give them. How overthinking affects us. At first, it might seem harmless. Thinking deeply about a situation should help us make better decisions, right? But overthinking isn't about solving problems. It's about creating them. It turns a simple choice into a mental battlefield. I remember a time when I had to send an important message. I wrote and rewrote it at least 10 times, overanalyzing every word. By the time I finally hit send, I was emotionally drained. The person on the other end, they responded with a simple, "Okay?" All that stress for nothing. That's what overthinking does. It makes us doubt ourselves, drains our energy, and keeps us stuck in our heads instead of living in the moment. Why do we overthink? Overthinking often comes from fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of what others might think, or fear of failure. We believe that if we think about something long enough, we'll find the perfect solution. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect decision. The more we analyze, the more uncertain we become. Sometimes, overthinking is just our brain's way of feeling in control. We think that if we plan for every possible outcome, we'll be safe from disappointment. But in reality, life is unpredictable, and no amount of overanalyzing can change that. How to stop overthinking? The good news is, we don't have to stay stuck in this cycle. Here are a few things that have helped me break free from overthinking. 1. Ask yourself, will this matter later? One simple trick that helps is asking, will this matter in a week? Will this matter in a month? Will this matter in a year? Most of the time, the things we obsess over won't matter in the long run. This question helps put things in perspective and stops small worries from taking over our minds. 2. Focus on what you can control. Overthinking often involves worrying about things beyond our control, what others think, how they'll react, or what might go wrong. But no matter how much we think, we can't control everything. Instead of stressing over things we can't change, we should focus on what we can do. If we're worried about an exam, we can study. If we're nervous about a conversation, we can prepare what we want to say. Action is always more powerful than overthinking. 3. Limit perfectionism. Many of us overthink because we want things to be perfect, but perfection is an illusion. I've learned that it's better to take imperfect action than to do nothing at all. For example, I used to hesitate before raising my hand in class, afraid that I might say something wrong. But then I realized, even if I make a mistake, I'll learn from it. Taking action, even if it's not perfect, is always better than sitting in fear. Set a time limit for decisions. If you struggle with making decisions, try setting a time limit. For small choices, give yourself 5 minutes to decide. For bigger ones, maybe a few hours or a day. I used to spend days deciding what to wear for an event or what caption to put on a post. Now I set a timer. When the time is up, I choose and move on. This small habit has saved me so much stress. 5. Distract yourself with positive activities. Overthinking usually happens when our minds are idle. That's why keeping ourselves engaged in meaningful activities can help. Exercise, reading, or even spending time with friends can pull us out of the cycle of overanalyzing. I've found that when I start overthinking, going for a walk or listening to music helps me break free from my thoughts. Sometimes, the best way to stop overthinking is to shift our focus to something else. 6. Talk it out. When we're stuck in our heads, everything feels bigger than it really is. But when we say our thoughts out loud or write them down, they lose their power. I remember one night, I was overthinking a small mistake I had made earlier in the day. It felt huge in my mind. But when I told my friend about it, they just laughed and said, "That's not a big deal at all." That's when I realized we make things bigger in our minds than they really are. Talking to someone we trust can give us a fresh perspective. Look, overthinking doesn't change the future. It only steals the present. We waste so much time worrying about